Hey guys, my name is Ashley Eason, and I'm currently a sixth grade science and social studies teacher at E.B. Aycock Middle School in Greenville. The book that I chose is The Hate You Give. I know a lot of people saw it on TV. It was a really big movie that came out, and everybody was into it with the Black Lives Matter movement. The reason I chose this book is because of the demographics that I teach. I'm at a Title I school, so a lot of the Black Lives Matter and the minorities is a really big issue, and I never really thought that 12-year-olds would have to face something like this. So at the beginning of the year, we started reading just a chapter a day during homeroom, and I've never seen the students so engaged because it was so relatable for them. For example, one of my students, it was a normal day for me, but, he goes home to hear that his brother was shot by a police officer downtown for doing nothing, essentially. And turns out his brother just was walking down the street. He was wearing a similar description of somebody that they were looking for, and so they shot him because he ran. He did, he had something on him, but anyway, long story short, The Hate You Give was a really big hit in my classroom, and the kids loved it. They all saw the movie. They were excited that they knew a little bit about the movie before they saw it, and once I started reading the book to them, I realized, let them read the book, because the language in the book is slang that they use from time to time. So it was really interesting and really cool and very natural for them to read the book out loud. Okay, so I'm going to read one of the beginning chapters. When I was 12, my parents had 2 talks with me. One was the usual birds and bees. Well, I didn't really get the usual version. My mom, Lisa, is a registered nurse, and she told me what went where and what didn't need to go here, there, or anywhere till I'm grown. Back then, I doubted anything was going anywhere anyway. While all the other girls sprouted breasts between 6th and 7th grade, my chest was as flat as my back. The other talk was about what to do if a cop stopped me. Mama fussed and told Daddy I was too young for that. He argued that I wasn't too young to get arrested or shot. Star, you do whatever they tell you to do, he said. Keep your hands visible, don't make any sudden moves, only speak when they speak to you. I knew it must have been serious. Daddy has the biggest mouth of anybody I know, and if he said to be quiet, I needed to be quiet. After reading that, my first sticky note. After reading that, I feel concerned because this is a real life issue that some of my students and their families are dealing with, and it makes me think about the things that I took for granted, such as walking down the street innocently while others struggled with it. I hope somebody had the talk with Khalil. He cusses under his breath, turns Tupac down, and maneuvers the Impala to the side of the street. We're on Carnation, where most of the houses are abandoned and half the streetlights are busted. Nobody around us but the cop. And just a side note, this is the part where they get pulled over. If you haven't read it, so spoiler alert. Khalil turns the ignition off. Wonder what this fool wants. The officer parks and puts his brights on. I blink to keep from being blinded. I remember something else Daddy said. If you're with somebody, you better hope they don't have nothing on them or both of y'all are going down. Kay, you don't have anything in the car, do you? I ask. He watches the cop in his side mirror. Nah. The officer approaches the driver's door and taps the window. Khalil cranks the handle to roll it down. As if we aren't blinded enough, the officer beams his flashlight in our faces. License, registration, and proof of insurance. Khalil breaks the rule. He doesn't do what the cop wants. What you pull us over for? License, registration, and proof of insurance. I said, what you pull us over for? Khalil, I plead, do what he said. Khalil groans and takes his wallet out. The officer follows his movements with the flashlight. My heart pounds loudly, but Daddy's instructions echo in my head. Get a good look at the cop's face. If you can remember his badge number, that's even better. With the flashlight following Khalil's hands, I make out the numbers on the badge. 115. He's white, mid-30s to early 40s, has a brown buzz cut and a thin scar over his top lip. Khalil hands the officer his papers and license. 115 looks over them. Where are you two coming from tonight? None ya, Khalil says, meaning none of your business. What you pull me over for? Your taillight is broken. So are you going to give me a ticket or what? Khalil asks. You know what? Get out the car, smart guy. Man, just give me the ticket. Get out the car. Hands up where I can see them. Khalil gets out with his hands up. 115 yanks him by his arm and pins him against the back door. I fight to find my voice. He didn't mean hands on the dashboard. The officer barks at me. Don't move. I do what he tells me, but my hands were shaking too much to be still. He pats Khalil down. Okay, smart mouth. Let's see what we find on you today. You ain't gonna find nothing, Khalil says. 115 pats him down 2 or more times. He turns up empty. Stay here, he tells Khalil. And you. He looks at me. He looks in the window at me. Don't move. I can't even nod. The officer walks back to his patrol car. My parents haven't raised me to fear the police, just to be smart around them. They told me it's not smart to move while a cop has his back to you. Khalil does. He comes to his door. It's not smart to make a sudden move. Khalil does. He opens the driver door. You okay, Star? Pow! 1. Khalil's body jerks. Blood splatters from his back. He holds onto the door to keep himself upright. Pow! 2. Khalil gasps. Pow! My second sticky note. And at this point, I'm wondering why there were 3 gunshots, and if he was already going down with the first one, why was the officer continuing to shoot? Also, another thing I was wondering after reading this is why Khalil turned back to the car after being told not to move. 3. Khalil looks at me stunned. He falls to the ground. I'm 10 again, watching Natasha drop. An ear-splitting scream emerges from my gut, explodes up my throat, and uses every inch of me to be heard. Instinct says don't move, but everything else says stay on Khalil. I jump out of the Impala and rush around the other side. Khalil stares at the sky as if he hopes to see God. His mouth is open like he wants to scream. I scream loud enough for the both of us. No, 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 is all I can say. Like I'm a year old and it's the only word I know. I'm not sure how I end up on the ground next to him. My mom once said that if someone gets shot, try to stop the bleeding. But there's so much blood. Too much blood. And my last sticky note for that section. After reading up to this point, I'm wondering if survival and how to stop an injury or to help somebody with an injury is something my students would know how to do. And that is all of my reading for this assignment. I, just as a side note, highly recommend that you read the book if you haven't. But thank you.